Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Nav.it Files. I'm Maya here with Erin, and we are so excited to be hitting the end of the week and really what feels to be the first week back from a very seemingly long holiday. So,
For you.
for me at least, but in that light, we are really excited to announce that we are, plugging along with V2 and getting the app ready to go for soft launch and then a hard release in February. So look out for more information there. And it also kind of whittles into some of the marketing efforts that we're starting to talk about, and we'll dive more into next week because we have a really interesting topic from Erin today. But to speak a little bit to what's to come in the marketing world, we're going to be talking about ambassadorship and growing a kind of almost like a sales funnel for different levels of ambassador groups and how to more succinctly target them, kind of like this new wave of account-based marketing, but for B2C groups like ours. And we're also going to be working through some attribution models because that's on my agenda for the weekend. So I will come back on Monday, hopefully with some things to tell everybody.
You're going to tell people what attribution models are, right?
Yeah, I will tell people. Basically, it's to say, okay, like what contacts are coming from what marketing channels, like,
Yeah.
definitive path to conversion. And it's been thrown around a ton in more of the business to business side of things because sales and marketing always compete for obviously conversions. And there's always been a strong level of tension between traditional sales teams and marketing teams. But we don't have to deal with sales teams because we're going directly to you all, direct to the consumer, which allows marketing to really have a heavy hand in the funnel. So we'll dive into that, but I'm really excited to kick things back over to Erin around goal setting, and then we will end with a bit of real talk since it's the end of the week.
Okay, so we have been working, of course, on our 2.0 launch from the product side, and that has been so fun to kind of reacquaint ourselves with all the theories and the logic that we had in the first beta version and just build up on it, see what users have done with it. And we have a great, couple thousand people that have more than that, that have really used the app and shown us like what they want from it. So now it's like revisiting these kind of core underpinnings of the app. And so two things that were really like our focus overall when we built the app and our purpose as a brand is to help people with a growth mindset. So we've talked about this, like there are key things that psychologists from a couple from Stanford actually that have proven that are a mindset that truly can almost predict success in the sense of happiness and accomplishing things that people set out to accomplish. Right. So, and the way that they've kind of grouped that is with his word grit, using grit, but really a growth mindset. So a mindset that says when you are posed with a problem, because ultimately the human experience is a bunch of problems. Yes. Do you have either the kind of stagnant fixed mindset, or do you have a growth mindset, which says this is a problem, it's complicated, I'm sorry about it, I'm mad about it, like allow the feels to be felt, but then ultimately I know I can solve it, or there is a solution to it, or I can move forward through it. So not being stuck in the kind of victim fix mindset, like this is how it's always going to be kind of thing. So fixed mindset versus growth mindset. So part of what we've been always doing with Nav.it is hoping that the word Nav.it and this kind of idea of empowered, I'm navving it, is creating a growth mindset so people can really say like money's messy, it's scary, it's ugly, you don't always have as much as you want, or there's anxiety around it, but ultimately I have the ability to navigate through all this, like through those emotions and through the financial outcomes. Yeah, so that's kind of been we've been having a lot of fun with that, figuring out how can we pull that through the app in terms of the content, the way we use words, like our verbiage, the way we bring people and communities together to empower each other in a growth mindset, to show other people with that growth mindset, and then to kind of individually support people through it. And there's one other kind of cool psychological theory behind that, which is cognitive reframing. I love this. I mean, I love that you let me geek out on these things.
Go for it. I have so many questions. So.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, you're not necessarily born with a fixed or growth mindset, right? Like
That's my question.
you
Okay. Yeah.
move through both, right, in your life, and but it's more like a choice, right? So reframing is the idea of you get a negative thought, you're feeling really bad about something. There's all that, we have the yin and yang. You have the negative feelings and emotion or event, and you're depressed or you're angry or anxious or whatever the negative emotion is. There is a cognitive reframing is saying, I'm going to take this emotion, I'm going to identify it first of all, because a lot of people, move through emotions without consciously identifying it. And then I'm going to reframe it. I'm going to say, okay, I stubbed my toe. That really effing hurt. And I'm going to push in that drawer, or I'm going to this is me, I'm going to slow down and, not do 50 million things at a time, and like my toe will be fine, right? So it's like reframing. That's a really silly one. There are a lot of bigger conversations to be had. I'll let you ask your questions.
Well, I got one you've answered, because I was going to ask if people are born with one or the other.
Right.
Are we predisposed to one or the other?
Well, I mean, I don't think psychologists have actually proven that, but there are, if you get around personality,
right.
Me and the Enneagram, I love the Enneagram.
Yeah, we should also talk about that.
We should talk about that. That should be another one, yes. But there are like personalities that are disposed to seeing the like positive or negative in life. That's true. But you're not fixed in a mindset. You literally, part of beauty of neuropsychology says that the minute you identify a problem, if you see like, oh, I think a lot of negative thoughts, the minute you consciously are aware of that, then you have the chance to change it.
It's like the concept for, say, an alcoholic to realize that you have a problem.
Right.
So it's like in sleep therapy, we talk about noting all the time, right? Like when you're trying to put your mind at rest, you're supposed to not combat thoughts from percolating, but instead let the thought come through, and then note what kind of like that it was a thought, and notice that that's not something you should be doing right now.
Yes.
I'm trying to go to sleep.
And that's the basis of meditation, and actually part of this is all the same, like reframe. It's not trying to stop an emotion. Right. It's not trying to judge yourself for having the emotion. It's just trying to be present with it and say, okay, this is the emotion that I'm feeling, whatever the reason, and I'm going to let it go, or I'm going to reframe it. I'm going to find another way of thinking about this subject. I don't have to like dig into my stubbornness about it.
And so I think that this is like a cool thing to talk about, obviously, in relationship with finances and in life. But, and it kind of brings me to like I had a few lists of literally lists of real talks that I could have run through this week. Yes. But one that I think might resonate is I recently, like this week, made a new investment in a piece of art that was made from a friend of mine. And anyway, so before I get into that, I think it's important to note like the feelings that we have when we have large expenditures, especially like this always comes up with investments. And this is why I've always been really kind of against the notion that you shouldn't be emotional with your money. Like, I think that's like saying you shouldn't be relationship in your romantic relationship. You shouldn't be emotive in your romantic relationship. Like, your romantic relationship is just as transactional as you and your money. So sorry, it is. And
no, I mean, there are emotions around money.
Exactly. So long as they're more like we're trying to just make more of those emotions more positive.
Yeah.
So for instance, like when you go in to invest in something, typically you're trying to provide X amount of money up front so that you see, a certain level or certain percentage of returns. Right.
Right.
And I think that's pretty obvious with the stock market. It's less obvious with art because it's kind of like investing in your business. It's way more of a risk up front in trusting the person to, do well as an artist in their lifetime, especially a young artist. Yeah. So I think that's an interesting, like this theory is an interesting thing to think about when we make even like simple, buying a new sweater or, paying for gas. Like if you are really strapped for cash in a certain week or month or whatever it is, like you immediately when you pay for something that's not like a absolute essential to keep you surviving or keep you, getting yourself to work.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to like justify, like everybody feels that momentary like buyer's remorse, right? Of
Totally.
should I have done that? Should I have done that? And then you have to, say like, well, you wanted to do this for a reason. Like, hopefully you're not blowing the rest of your money every month on like lotto tickets, but if you're investing your money in something that even if it be clothing, like that makes sense for you, that's going to last, that's going to provide you like value and a return in some meaningful way, then like we should feel better about that.
Right. And so this is the perfect example, right? Mm-hmm. So the negative emotion comes up, and ideally, let's say you're doing this before you make the choice, right? Like the nervousness. No, but I mean, like in general, we have all this anxiety, right, around things before. And so literally sitting with that and allowing yourself, it's like 5 minutes. It's like your headspace meditation, right? Mm-hmm. 5 minutes just to be like, okay, what are the emotions that are coming up around this? Is it, there's a risk. And how do I feel about risk? Okay, I'm a little nervous about risk with my money in general. Like, do I have the means? Is it coming up because I don't have the means to pay for it? No, it's coming up because I'm just nervous around risk. Like, you can kind of identify that.
Right.
You can say, okay, and what are the other, factors that I can either control or can't control? And then if you've gone through all those, like the emotion you're feeling, the negativity and why, then the shift, like the reframing, once you like, is it, and with all those negative questions, do I still want to do this? Right. And do I still think it's the right thing? Was my intuition say? This is why we talk a lot in Nav.it of like, you have intuition and you have intellect. Those are two things that we like in our world, especially in the like hyper masculine finance world of statistics, they've differentiated, like they've severed those two things. Like it's all statistics, outcome-based outcomes. Mm-hmm. But actually the best traders have really good intuition, right? And like this best business deals like are literally Warren Buffett, having an instinct that Apple dude is going to be good, like, so literally we, as humans, you have your intellect and you have your intuition to calibrate. And the intellect is the one that has to identify those emotions and the moment and the feelings and what's happening. And then once you've done that, checking in with your intuition and saying, okay, like, do I need to reframe this? Is my intuition still set on this? What is it saying? That calibrates it, and it gives you a chance to reframe it in a positive way. That's like, no, my gut says this is right because of this, this, and this.
Right. Yeah, and I think again, back to like the investment conversation, or whatever you're spending your money on, like certainly don't do these things that are causing you anxiety when you have no source of income. But for instance, if you have a source of income and you've saved money, like, it's not like you're touching your retirement fund. It's not like you're touching money in, a structured entity that you're not supposed to touch for years on end. Like, if you have money in your checking account and you're going to make all your bills, like you can afford to spend something that's really going to bring you joy and hopefully will become an investment and, and make up for it next month or, a few months down the road. That's at least what I'm telling myself right now.
I love that you're going through your own process right now.
I totally am, because like I have absolutely put it to the back of my mind. It was also one of those things where my friend is so sweet. She was like, pay me up front and then I can put you on a payment plan. Like, what artist puts a buyer on a payment plan is the best? And I was, at first when she told me that a few weeks ago, I was like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, let's do that. Yeah. And then I got there and I was like so excited, and she was going to give me the piece like right away. It's not like she was going to like withhold it from me. Right. But I was like, I'd rather just pay. It's like rip the Band-Aid. Yeah. Personally, I would rather just pay it up front and never have to think about
about it again.
Yeah, never have to experience this guilt again.
Right.
And so I think it was my split-second decision that then like kind of left me feeling more guilty, because it's like I changed my strategy last minute.
Oh my God, I love you so much. That's also your like personality that once like needs to know exactly what's happening.
Yeah, but I'm also like, yes, and I'm also the avalanche like debt repayment method, 100%. Like, start with the biggest expense
and get it done. Yes.
Whatever the fuck you have to do, and then figure it like, and then ease into the rest of the situation.
Right. Well, so I mean, like part of it, so that's perfect. Like you are making two things. At Nav.it, we say you got to understand yourself, right? And your lifestyle and your internal compass of what you want to invest your money in and what you want to save your money on, right? And basically, like, you are someone that loves to invest in art, right? And like that is something that's part of who you are. And so that's part of what the fabric of your investment portfolio looks like, as well as just your spending, you know, like what you factor in your spending. I personally, I love art too, but I invest in travel. Like I have to travel. It's so important to me. Like I can't be in one place for more than 3 months or I really go crazy. So it's like, you know, just who I am. Right?
Oops. I think I just forget to budget for travel.
Yeah. Well, it's just part of who, you know, it's part of my expenses I expect in my life, right?
Yeah,
like,
fair. And I think you're, you know, per like all these interviews and all this research we've done with navigators, like that's not out of the norm. Like we can think of travel as a personal mental investment for ourselves. Like that's okay, you know?
Totally. Yeah.
Happiness is a return.
Completely. And that's the point. Like really money is a tool to help you live the lifestyle you want to live. So how do you accept what you want to spend your money on and then stop the guilt? Like, because that's not fun for anyone. You have anxiety over it and then you look at that piece of art and you feel guilty. That's the opposite of the effect you want to have, right?
Exactly. So, well, if anybody's interested in how to invest in a young artist, DM me and I
think we should do one of these on that because I would love to hear what you're looking for in investments like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, we should really interview John. Maybe we can get John on an episode.
We can get a guest speaker.
Yeah. Perfect. But, you know, he's taught me a lot about, you know, like invest in the things you love. Don't invest in it just because you know it's going to have some semblance of a financial return.
Right.
I think John.
Because also when do you sell your art? Like not that often. Right.
But also like in just quickly in my perspective, it's like I know I know where her portfolio to date has gone, even though she's a young artist. And I know that her drawings and her work now sits in the homes of a lot of significant art collectors just because of her network. So even though she hasn't like, you know, had a showing at MoMA yet.
Yeah.
When those estates go up for auction, that will, you know, boost her value and therefore my own. So
yeah, no, it's
we'll talk more about it later. Yeah,
no, it's good.
Love it. Yeah. Well, what a great note to end on. I hope everybody has a good weekend.
Yes. Cognitively reframe things. Find a negative emotion.
Yes.
Think of the possible opposite belief.
Yeah, maybe that's the homework for the weekend, and we'll catch back up on Monday.
I do it with my kid all the time. It really works, I promise.
Yeah, let's get more into parenting in this on Monday. I love
really mad there's not a school day. Oh, I'm really excited to see my friends at school. So easy.
I love it. Okay, more on this to come because I think everybody wants to hear that perspective.
No, maybe not. It's a treat. Okay, bye guys.
It's great. Okay, bye.